so boys, I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent here. I typically try not to get into the drama of, it's been going around for a long time. I joke about it, but this I'm pretty frustrated about this situation here with Chauncey Bowens. And this isn't a knock towards Chauncey. It's not a knock towards Georgia. A little bit towards Georgia, but not too much. A kind of bit. You guys judge. My frustration here is, I'll pull up the chart here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Most of you have already seen it. I tweeted this out. Look at the chart. This, if you have ever participated in stocks, this is exactly what a pump and dump looks like. Okay? So pump and dump stock is when, pump and dump is
John Ruiz?
When you just pump the stock up to dump it. Now, obviously, it's not going to come back down, but it goes up like out of nowhere. This kid jumped 157 spots. Mind you, this is not a shot at Chauncey Bowens. He 100% probably deserves to move up 157 spots. We talked about it multiple times that we expect him to move up in the rankings. The kid's really, really good. When we had him on our team, we were like, we're really excited because he's super underrated at the moment. We expect this to move up. He commits to Georgia and then gets catapulted 157 spots. Here's where my issue is. Like Mike Williams tweeted yesterday, I don't care about ratings. I don't care about any of that. And you're right. At the end of the day, once you're busting uglies and knocking pads, it really doesn't matter, right? But here's why it matters a lot more in today's society, in today's recruiting, than it may have a year ago or even 2 years ago. Where you sit in your ranking affects your NIL valuation. So if, let's say, Georgia is in cahoots with On3, 247, Rivals, etc., which that's kind of what's been spoke about, is that Georgia has a relationship with these guys, right? And they land that commit and they jump X amount of spots. Well, now, okay, that's it's a recruiting advantage. And it's like, yeah, you're paying them, right, without paying them, because now they're committing to Georgia. They're jumping 1,500, 25 spots. That NIL valuation went from 33,000 to now, I don't know, maybe 80,000, 90,000, all because of where they committed. That's where my frustration comes in, because, look, that's huge. That's massive. If you're able to say, hey, if you commit to Georgia, you're going to jump X amount of spots. And sure, it's going to make our class look good. It's going to like all those things. But most importantly, you're going to be able to monetize yourself a lot more now because of the evaluation changing. I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, he deserved it, though. I mean, like, he's that good. I mean, a 10.8 meter, 100-meter runner. And plus, when you combine his statistics, we knew the bump was coming. It was just happened to be the timing of the bump. You know, it's like, did these guys know that? Like, he came out on Twitter and he said he knew he was gonna flip for like a couple months. Okay, so now if that got across somebody at the recruiting services, they were just like, oh, okay, well, we'll go ahead and make sure he gets a bump in the next ratings. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything like that, but he deserved to get bumped anyway.
100%. And that's my thing. I'm not here to take a jab at Chauncey.
Well warranted.
He deserves the bump. It's just the timing of it seems a little suspicious, and it's the amount of. Look, maybe by the end of the year, if he jumped 150 spots, cool. But in 2 days, it just seems. And what happened? What's happened since then? What's happened in the last 2 days to cause that massive jump? Was there 15 camps that I didn't know about?
Yeah, so that's not really. So there's a couple of kids that I thought were suspicious, but like this one, I think was well warranted. I mean, Nitri and Tuggle got a bump too, and he deserved that bump too. So I'm not going to say that was like one of those. Okay, well,
no, that was a healthy bump.
Paying for the stars, but
that was a healthy bump.
Last year, though, I did think last year when Jordan Hall got that big bump to a 5-star, I thought that was a little sus.
That was
because,
big too.
I mean, he was pretty stagnant in his rating. He never really moved that much. He kind of stayed where he was at the whole cycle. And then he goes to these camps. He doesn't really do that well. And then he gets bumped all the way up to like the 29th spot. You're like, where did that come from? Like,
yeah.
So I thought that one was a little sus. Like,
I see you guys in the comment, like, who cares what George is doing, or, you know, what's it matter that he jumped 5 stars? The other part of it is, too, my other concern is, again, you go to these sites for credibility. You go to these sites to trust them. Well, there's going to be some question marks. They're like, hey, what's going on here? And that's my thing, too. It's like, look, like, you guys are supposed to be sweet in a sense. You're supposed to have an unbiased opinion. When these things consistently happen, it doesn't feel that way. And that's like, we go to you for this information. we're ready to count on you, and you're not giving us not giving
Yeah,
us the right stuff.
and I wanna say, when I say sus, that doesn't mean that I'm accusing anybody of anything. I'm just
Sure,
saying it's
just
suspect like, it's just
just
sus. That's
suspicious.
all.
Yeah, I'm not here to point the blame to anybody, but I have questions. It's a very gray area. That's all.
Yeah, and
So
then you've also got people from other fan bases saying it too. It's not just us. It's like I was in a Twitter space the other day, and they were joking about the Georgia bump. And I'm like, "Yeah, it's the Alabama and Georgia bump and nobody else."
and
But
look, you Georgia.
at the same time though, if they give them a ridiculous amount of bump and then they come into the Georgia and they don't perform up to that bump that they gave them, then it's just gonna make them look worse.
Sure, and I'm not saying any of those things, right? And the Georgia fans, you guys are coming in here, which I appreciate. I expected you to. Like, I'm not bitter, as it though it may seem. I'm not trying to throw a fit. It's more of an accountability to the recruiting sites. And look, that's a massive advantage. If you're able, if they recruit to a school, here's the thing. I'm not gonna mention any names, but we've been in a Twitter space for a recruit. He's a 3-star recruit, where he has said on a Twitter space that you and I have talked about with him, where he's like, yeah, certain people from certain sites have said, hey, I don't recommend going here. It's probably going to affect your status. That's as far as we're going to go.
Yeah, that was a couple of them. That wasn't just one, remember?
But the one that I was a part of with you as well. So it's not like we're just making this
Yeah.
stuff. I'm not trying to gossip or start anything. And like when I heard that, I kind of like let it go. But this Chauncey Bowens one was like blatant. It's like we can get away with it. Who cares? That's all that I'm saying. Yes, the proof is in the pudding. Georgia's a phenomenal football team. I'm not taking anything away from him at all. Chauncey Bowens is a stud. He probably should be ranked where he is. I agree with where he's ranked. It just seems suspicious that once he commits to the school, this happens. That's all that I'm saying.